Hey everybody, it's Margaret here with installment number 3 of Solar Flare. I had a great time making this, and I've finally used all the fabrics that are in the package, and so that's kind of made me happy that at least I've got them all out and cutting out and ready to go. So the first thing I did, like with all the rest of them, is that I took the blocks. They're actually all the same blocks. So I took the blocks and I put block number 4 and wrote the color number of the piece of fabric across the top. So I did block 4, block 5, the same way, and then block 6. The interesting thing about block 5 and block 6 is that they're mirror images of one another. So on this one, you go from C to P on 6, and on 5 you go from C to P, or from P to C, same way across from left to right, reading it the same way. So anyway, that was the difference between block 5 and 6. They're exactly the same, except that they're backwards of each other. And then block 4 has blue in the middle and goes out to each side with different color ranges. So you've got 3 different blocks to make in here, all the same shape. So please identify your papers before and number them so that we have, so that you don't mess up and make 4 or 5 of the same thing, because they are all different. So let's go here, and again, you need the 2.5-inch strips for almost all of them. Here's going to give you your colorations for block 4, block 5, and block 6. And what I did was just lay my paper down below it on block 4 and mirror image this up here of what the numbers, the letters across here on this, and the same with block 5 and block 6. So that's how I came up with what to put on each individual block. So I did have a little bit of a mistake. So I have left my paper this big. So this is the bottom half of the paper that we received. I cut the bottom half off. This one, as you get further out here, you fold this at an angle instead of straight. And so it does make it much easier to fold the paper, because they're all a little bit different of an angle all the way out. And so it's easier if you fold the paper before you get started, because once you get going with it, it's harder to fold the paper accurately. So again, I took all the paper, folded it at least once down each of the seam lines, so that I already had my crease started for when I needed to cut the fabric with my ruler at a later date. So again, I pinched all the seam lines and went down them before I started paper piecing. So your paper is kind of already a little wedged, so that you know exactly where you need to go. So when I was doing these, I did the first one, and it was the blues, on the blues, it was block 4. And as you can see on the back, it says block 4 and what colors need to go all the way across. And so I got to the end and I cut it off, and it all looked perfect. So I got this one shored up and finished up. But then I did the next one, and I really didn't have any problems. And as you can see, this piece is not as long as this piece right here. And when you're placing this piece, you need to make sure that you give yourself a little extra at the top, going all the way out, is what I found out. So I got ready to, I got this piece all done, and I got ready to cut it. And after I cut it, I looked at it, and there's a corner here missing that I still have white paper off to the side. So this one would just barely covers the seam line. And what happened was I had it too far down and not far enough up, because when you flip it over, this has to go over really far. So you have to move, kind of ooch it to the top a little bit, scooch it to the top a little bit, so that when you fold it this way, you have more on the top and maybe a little less at the bottom. So all of them came out just fine, except for this one. And it wasn't until I did the final cut on it that I realized that this does not cover what it needs to cover. So I was kind of upset last night whenever I did it, and was trying, and so I'm gonna go, and I decided I'm just gonna bring it as an example of what not to do. So I'm gonna have to unsew this one, and then I'm gonna unsew a rip out this piece right down here, flip it up, and unsew this one to about right here, and then take this piece out, and then I will put this piece back in and cut it to where it needs to go, and then add this piece and re-add this piece on top of it again. So I'm not gonna have to just, cause this piece, and use another yellow piece. And this time, whenever I sew it on, I'm gonna make sure that I have quite a bit extra, because as you can see, that this is a little higher than that end right there. You have to go a little above that, like a ½ inch above that, if you want it to fold over properly. Because when you're sewing it, it is really over here, and you can't see what you need because it's straight across here. But as you push it to the side and then pull it over here, you can see that you need more at the top angle. So anyway, that I did find that on a couple of these other ones, that you have to make sure that you're leaving enough room at the top up here so that when you flip it, it has a little bit of room to go to the side. So that was block 5. Again, here's the 5 on the back and all of the blocks, and I'll have this one fixed in no time. And then here is block 6. And as you can see, it is the mirror image of block 5. So that's why you want to make sure that you designate which one you're doing, so you can make sure you have the right block in the right place. So this is block 5. Block 6 says block 6 on the back, and it gives you all your color numbers across it. So these are the 3 blocks that you need to make, and there'll be 4 of each of them that you need to make in this next segment. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. In 2 weeks, we're going to be back on live with you guys. If you have any questions, join us then. Ask your questions, and we're happy to help. And I hope you're enjoying this so long. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Happy sewing!